know that we're doing good stuff, but you might not understand exactly what we do. And so that's part of what we're going to accomplish today. You can thank our great video guy, because we're going to actually put some of this stuff on the website, and then we'll get to edit out all kinds of junk. So if someone has a question, please feel free to ask it, and we'll be able to edit those things out. The first thing I wanted to do was just give you an idea of what our average student looks like right now. Is actually an upper middle schooler. These are kids who have probably fought their way up until 3rd grade and then started to see a nosedive. Now, these are also students who maybe made Title I, maybe they were held back a little bit in, maybe they weren't quite ready for kindergarten. They managed, but it's right about 3rd grade where school systems stop teaching to read and so instead of learning to read, now our kids are reading to learn. And the amount of vocabulary just grows exponentially, and we start seeing the hiccups with spelling, the hiccups with numbers. Oftentimes we've got math facts that are causing a problem. And so that's really where we're going to jump in, at least today, and sort of give you an idea of what we do. So I'm going to hand some stuff out in a little bit. Actually, Joy has been working with me quite a bit this year, and so I was planning to have her kind of go first and tell you a story about a student with dyslexia. But we'll put that on hold and we'll move forward. So take a look at these, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I don't get to work, quite in Vanna White style most of the time. I actually use a much smaller version. So I'm going to just pass these around so you get a chance to see when we work with a student on a daily basis, they're using the smaller group of letters. Now, for those of you that have the little ones, you can tell we focus on physical changing of the letters because our kids are brilliantly kinesthetic. And we also use color coordination. You know what? Is it possible, can I move? I just need to know how fast you guys are going to be up and running. Can we move this up a little? Is that possible?
The picture will be on the wall still, but...
Oh, well, then I don't care about it. I'll have to come up with a new plan. Oh, we'll put our words right here, okay? Perfect. It's called winging it. What do you see on the wall? What do you see? What's different about these letters compared to these? These are vowels, you're right. And for our students, we say every letter has to, or every word has to have a yellow tile. Every word has to have a yellow tile. Now, because oftentimes as they start sounding out the letters, it's hard to hear the tile, or it's hard to hear the vowels. If you say fit and t are very easy to hear, but the it in the middle often gets slid out. So I'm going to teach you the floss rule today, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start with something. Normally, just like with my students, I would say, okay, I want you to sound out this word. Tell. You're right. What's wrong with this word? Does it look right to you? What does it need?
Another L.
It needs another L. You're exactly right. We need 2 L's in tell. Do you have any idea why? Nope, and most of my students don't know either. Okay, I say, well, that's kind of interesting. Let's see. Do you suppose there are any other words that need 2 L's at the end? Let's try. This is kind of fun, actually. Does it need 2 L's? Spell needs 2 L's, doesn't it? Well, that's kind of interesting. So if there's one vowel in the middle and it has an L at the end, we need 2 of them. I wonder if there are any other words like this. Let's try. Let's see. this big. Okay, this is called the floss rule for our students. If a word has one vowel and ends in F, L, S, and sometimes Z, we double it. If it has only one vowel, so like words that have a vowel team in the middle, obviously don't count. If it's only got one tile and ends in F, L, S, and sometimes Z, we double it. So then I would give them the opportunity to practice some of those words and some of those rules. And we'd have them pull the tiles down. And then we'd also give them the opportunity to spell something. Now, there's a couple of interesting exceptions to the floss rule. So we always teach the exceptions right along with the actual rule, because I don't want a student to come later and say, well, this doesn't follow the floss rule. How come? I want to be able to say, here are my 3 things that don't follow the floss rule, and there's a 4th one for grown-ups. So let's go with that one, shall we?